One of our most watched videos on our YouTube channel is a video called Why We Don't Stretch. In somatics, we don't deal with stretching, and that video explains what people often do when they're stretching and what we do instead, which is something called pandiculation. What I never really discussed in that video is when people are talking about stretching, what do they actually mean? Because in all the years I've been teaching somatics, people are still using this word stretch. Somatics teachers, yoga teachers, whatever, will still often use this word. And what it highlights to me is the way in which they feel that muscles work, which often isn't the case. So in this video, I want to talk about that aspect. So let's think about, to start with, when we want to stretch, when people often say, oh, I really need to stretch that muscle, what are they wanting to achieve? Now, usually it means that a muscle is tight. Many cyclists I know want to stretch their hamstrings because from cycling, or maybe even from running, it can be runners too, they feel that their hamstrings have tightened. And so because there's this belief that they have tightened and shortened, what they do is movements that stretch, that look at making them longer, releasing that tension. And this is what the other video tells you about. So please do go and have a look if you want a bit more detail on that. So what happens is when a muscle feels tight, it often means that within the sort of belly of the muscle, there's a contraction. There's this held sense or a stuckness. But muscles that work with the neurology. So we refer to this as a neuromuscular lock or a neuromuscular stuckness. And that tightness, that stuckness, doesn't let go by pulling at it. Imagine if you're holding on to something. You often don't let go by somebody pulling you away. I mean, it can happen, but that's force. And force, whilst it can have a kind of in the moment effect, long term it doesn't change anything. So what this means in terms of muscles and tightness and wanting to stretch out is that if you've got a tight muscle, it is your neurology, it is your nervous system, the sort of information running through your body from your brain through your motor system that is giving the signals to that muscle to be tight, to stay there. When we physically do a movement to pull it apart, it can feel like it's made a change because we can feel like that, oh yeah, that's really good. The change has been made on the sort of external, but the way in which your kind of blueprint, your neurology, tracks that whole motor system, the neurological information to that muscle, that hasn't changed. So the likelihood is that over a short space of time, you'll tighten up again because the habitual patterns held within your neurology have not shifted. And this is what somatics addresses. So we're wanting to, from stretching, lengthen out a muscle. Your system is holding it in that place in an unconscious way, like you're not consciously aware of doing it, because if you were, you would just let go. So we have to bring that held stuckness into conscious awareness. And a really good way of doing that is doing more of what your neurology is already doing. In terms of a tight muscle, that means tighten it a bit more. So if it's these muscles here that are tight and you think, oh gosh, I just need to lengthen them down, then instead of doing that, go into the movement. Find the contraction that tightens them just that little bit more, so that you're switching on consciously that muscle contraction. And sometimes it might be a while before you can really find it. It's like, there, that's what's holding them. When you feel that held sense, then ever so slowly begin to send the signal of let go, switch off. And keep that signal going even beyond when you think you've let go. Now, this isn't a doing. Yet the contraction is the doing. You are consciously doing something. The other movement is a non-doing. Slowly releasing. And when you feel that signal of let go, you've got to the end of it, then take a pause. Just sit in that new space of let go. So what you're doing there is allowing the muscle to reset, to actually lengthen back to its normal place of rest, because muscles don't actually stretch. If they did, if they got longer, they're not like elastic, they don't twang back. Muscles tighten and then they release back to where they started. And if they don't release, it's because we have this neuromuscular lock, subconsciously or unconsciously even holding. Now, this is very different to stretch, because stretch is a do. It's a doing. It's an active trying to make something happen. So in the case of these, it would be like forcing your shoulders down, and it's this pushing. Well, if you're doing, somewhere in your body, you're creating a contraction. So you're putting another lock into your body to try and release what's already tight. So this is what somatics addresses. Places where we are stuck or locked or tightened. What we're doing is bringing conscious awareness to that sensation, to that action, to that like unfinished process of muscular contraction. And we're highlighting it by tightening that little bit more, and then giving the brain the signal, release, soften, let go, melt. All these words are really nice words to suggest to your nervous system to let go of that lock. Soften, melt, release, recede. And that will take your muscles to a new resting place. And then in this new resting place, then you can contract that muscle again, and you're actually starting from a new place. So there's more contraction to be had. And pause, sense the on, and then softly and slowly let go. And notice the release is a non-doing, it's a melting, let go. So this is why we don't stretch. I mean, it's not to say that stretching isn't good. It's not to say it's wrong. It's just that if the intention is to release a contraction, it's not the best method. Just like if you are baking a cake, the intention is to bake a cake, the best thing is not to put it in a steamer. It's not wrong to use a steamer, but it might not do the job that you want doing. So if you'd like to find out more about how somatics can release stuckness, can release tension in muscles, can reset the musculature so that the skeleton can be more balanced and that you have more freedom to move your body in a way that supports you, then please do follow, subscribe, and then you'll get the next videos that come along and start to learn even more. Thank you for following me. My name's Amanda. I'll see you in the next video.